We are
Thank you for coming in today, Jamie. We appreciate it. We know you're very busy. So first question is one from one of our students. What is your favourite footballing moment?
My favourite footballing moment? It's quite easy. In 2016, Yeovil won the league, but it wasn't the day that we won the title, won the championship. It was actually the week before we played London Bees. It was a counter-attack. London Bees had a corner, we had a counter-attack. Jessie Jones broke and she laid the ball inside to Nadia Lawrence. Nadia then proceeded from 20 yards to dink it over the goalkeeper, and it felt like an absolute lifetime. The ball was in the air, but it bounced just inside the post and nestled in the bottom corner of the goal at London Bees. We won the game 2-0, which meant we were promoted into WSL 1. So there's a lot of memories from that year, but that moment, as you just can imagine, is etched in my mind, and something I'll never forget.
Sounds amazing. Wish I was there. Would you rather a derby or a top of the table clash?
Derby.
Why?
Why? It's your local rivals, and you got to get one over on your local rivals, whoever that may be. Whether for us it's a Keynsham, a Bristol City, a Plymouth Argyle, whoever that may be, you got to get one over on your rivals. And to me, you want to be the best club in the region or in the area, and to get one over your rivals is a massive thing.
Definitely. And what are your aspirations?
I think I mostly do have personal aspirations, but my personal ones are more linked to this club. Everyone knows the history of this football club and myself. I've been with it since 2014 on and off, and where I see the club at this present moment in time, where it wants to get back to, is my personal aspiration, is to make sure that we drive this club back to where it belongs. We fully believe it belongs in the top 2 tiers of the Women's League. We've got a great opportunity in this season coming, so hopefully we can achieve those aspirations. But I would say that's my burning desire, is to return this club back to where it belongs.
How important do you think the partnership that Bridgewater and Taunton have with Yeovil?
One word: integral. I think it's huge. This club is built upon great partnerships, great relationships, but we're an educational club as well. We want to make sure that we educate not just the player on the pitch, but they educate the player off the pitch, so they've got every opportunity to follow their chosen path, whether that's in football, whether that's outside of football. I think the partnership with Team BTC is huge. It's something that we set up 2015, I believe now, so it's now going into year 4 or 5 of the programme, and the crop that we've got coming through from our under-16s into the college programme this year is a very promising crop that we've got coming through, which sort of underpins the whole programme. If our youth pathway links into our college programme, and our college programme then links into under-21s, and then under-21s link into the first team, we've got a continued pathway throughout the club, and Team BTC are massive drivers, and they underpin everything that we do, because they work with the girls Monday to Friday. I have the luxury of working with the girls on a Tuesday and a Thursday and on a weekend, but Monday to Friday, that's when the education really happens. And we're very, very fortunate, or very lucky to have such a strong partnership with this education establishment.
Thank you. How excited are you about the new under-21 squad?
I think it just links it back to the partnership and the pathway. The pathway is huge for this club. We want to be self-sustainable. We want to be a sustainable club, developing our own players, developing players for the region. We've got a proud tradition of developing young players into the first team. We look at the first team as it stands now. Charlotte Buxton came from our under-14s. We've got a crop of youngsters that are coming through, or the younglings as I call them. There's 4 or 5 of them in around the first team squad at this present moment in time. So that pathway is there, and is really important. But to have the games programme for an under-21, so they have the training environment around the first team, but then they can go in, play in an under-21 environment, which gives that development, takes away the edge of the importance of maybe 3 points, which allows a player to maybe be more creative, but to learn from their mistakes in a more I can't say relaxed, because everyone wants to win a game of football, so it's not relaxed in any shape or form, but in more of an environment conducive to a 16 to 19-year-old ready to develop as a footballer. I think that's important, and this games programme this season will massively underpin the first team programme. And like I said, there's there'll be first team players that are under the age of 21 that will be involved in that programme to help develop the younger ones coming through. So it's a massive part, and I think you can tell by the way that I'm talking, it's an exciting reinvestment back into the club in terms of our development pathway.
Where do you see Yeovil women in 3 years' time?
Champions League winners, no. You set yourself all these targets and goals and the personal aspirations. Champions League might be a way off our radar. The goal for the club is to be self-sustainable. The goal for the club is to be developing players for the region, developing players for the England pathway, and supporting players into education and lifelong learning. So that's our brief as a club. But I would love to see this club in the next 3 years back where it was in the Super League, and WSL won the Super League. But again, I think the biggest thing for me is making sure this club is back where I fully believe it belongs, which is in the top 2 tiers of the Women's League.
Great, thank you. Got a question from one of our colleagues in the office. What's your perfect Sunday?
My perfect Sunday. It involves football, but it involves my family as well. My son plays rugby, so my involvement in the morning would be potentially going to take my 2 youngest to swimming, because that's what they do on a Sunday morning when the swimming pools reopen again. But it would be involved with them, taking them out and watching them swim in their swimming lessons. Quickly running across to watch my son play rugby. He's 12 years old now, so he's playing under 13s, full contact, and he's a bit of a tough tackler, a bit like his mum. So that would be my perfect morning, and then obviously coming down to watch the girls play, have an intense battle and walk away with 3 points, and then have a cup of coffee. And that would be my perfect Sunday.
That sounds perfect. And lastly, what one piece of advice would you give to our young players?
Any piece of advice to any youngster will always be to soak up everything that you can. Always go into a training session, walking away from training session, making sure that you've learned at least 1 or 2 things. Walking away from training, reflecting on what you do well, and what you can improve on for your next training session. I think that's really important. A young player has the ability to critique themselves, but in a confident manner. So not overanalyse and criticise, but to critique and reflect. I think that's really important. And then having the support then with either a parent or your coaches or your teammates to maybe put an action plan in place to develop those areas of concerns that you may have from a training session. But the biggest one for me is to walk away knowing that you've learned 1 or 2 things from the training session. But I'll flip it back to what I tell my 12-year-old when he plays rugby, is to go out, is to listen to his coaches, to be brave in and out of possession, and to make sure he walks away with a smile on his face. And I think if that happens in a training session, then you've had a good training session, or a game. So that would be my one piece of advice: is listen to your coaches, be brave in and out of possession, and walk away with a smile on your face. But have the maturity to reflect on what you've done, how you've done things, and where you maybe need to improve.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Jamie, and
you.
good luck for a difficult season, but one that I'm sure that Yeovil will definitely excel in.
I'm sure we will. We'll give it everything we got. So thank you.
Thank you.